like we're live, I think. And how did you like that Peace Angels trailer?
That was lovely. I'm excited to see more of the documentary once it's released.
Yeah, I'll be refreshing the public view of that very soon. And stay tuned. So here we are. And yes, it's my birthday. I have to admit it. And I'm just getting older and older and older. But I'm feeling quite young still, which is good because there's lots to do this year in terms of Beyond Being Human, including our For the Love of Mystics podcast. And yeah, it's so good to have another gathering, start the year off with my birthday, which is what we've done for the last 5 years, in fact. And we've got a great bunch of guests coming up. And I'll probably pop back and have a little bit more of a discussion about what is going on with Beyond Being Human a little bit later. We've got so many people. And just to mention, we'll probably do like 10 to 15-minute sections at the very, very most, because we do actually have a lot of people. And a few surprise guests coming up. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, and thank you all so much for coming. And I'm going to pass over to the wonderful Miss Jennifer Jurkofsky.
Thank you very much, Michael. And thank you, everyone, for being here with us today to celebrate a very special moment, Michael's birthday. And we're also celebrating this beautiful community. And I'm really grateful to be here, to be able to share this space with all of you tuning in, and all of you who are joining us on Zoom. This is quite lovely. You keep seeing people popping in, so I'm super excited to get to hear from everyone and meet everyone. This event I've been a part of now for a couple birthdays, and it is a beautiful event that brings together friends, speakers, experiencers, seekers from all over the world. We were talking just before the show, and we're, from all the different parts of the world joined together today. And I think that that is a beautiful thing for us to come together and talk about starting the year in honoring connection, expansion, and this profound journey that we are walking on. So our first guest that we are going to have join us today is going to be Patricia. And Patricia made the conscious decision in 1998 to step away from corporate America so that her work could be more fully reflective of her spiritual values. And she has been dedicated to being a mediator since, I believe it was 1977. And over the years, she has received what she describes as divine guidance, three core transmissions in particular that are intended to support humanity's awakening. And drawing on decades of mediation and spiritual study, along with many years of teaching energy healing, Patricia has woven together these three messages into a simple, practical daily practice that she calls the Divine Two-Step. Patricia, I would love to hear more.
Oh, thank you, Jen. You are so articulate, and I just love it. You're the best facilitator that I've heard. And but I first want to start out by saying I am so honored to be here and among Michael's friends and to honor his birthday. He has brought so much, even by um, just naming Beyond Being Human just conveys so much wisdom into what we are all here to convey. So, Michael, happy birthday. And just, we all love you. We wouldn't be here if we didn't. And we love the work that you're doing. So, more on that later, I am sure. But thank you, Jen, for that introduction. And yes, I I was fortunate enough to be the receiver of messages that Spirit sent for all of us to assist humanity in awakening. There were three of them in the last 26 years. The first one is called the Two Doors Vision. It came as a vision, and it's so powerful. It revealed the following. First, that our purpose in life is a realization of oneness. The second thing it revealed is that we have choices in how we awaken, consciously through gratitude or unconsciously learning lessons through the challenges of life. And the third thing it revealed is that no matter which path we choose to awaken, the ultimate destination is heaven on earth. That was powerful. And I'll tell you the truth, it took me 19 years to really take a close look at that vision, to really decipher those three core messages that were woven within that vision. But since then, I think I've made up for it. So the living in heart-centered gratitude is what we live by, a whole group of us. Cindy Elliman's one of them, Michael's one in our group. I think, Jen, you might have joined as well in our Living in Heart-Centered Gratitude Facebook group. I also gave a TED Talk about living in heart-centered gratitude in 2019, which is available on YouTube for anyone who's interested. So 2 years later, because I really didn't get the Two Doors Vision message, Spirit sent another message to help us awaken. First me to even get the message, but then to pass it on so that all of us can utilize the Spirit message. And it was what I've named a mindfulness practice called Looking for Light. It came in answer to a question. When I was coming out of meditation one morning, I asked silently, how can I stay consciously connected with God outside of meditation? And instantly, flashes of light appeared everywhere, and I knew it was Spirit saying, here I am, Patricia, here I am, here I am, here I am. I felt such gratitude and joy to have this appearance of Spirit everywhere that I thought to myself, I can recreate this as a game and use light as the same as seeing Spirit. And so that's what I did. I went around that very afternoon and running errands. Every time I saw light, I knew it was Spirit saying, here I am, here I am. And by the end of that day, I was just filled with gratitude and joy. My whole vibrational frequency was uplifted, and it's something that we can reproduce at any time to keep that raised vision, that raised consciousness of knowing omnipresence. And it's embedding our subconscious with that reality as well. So the third revelation that came about was a number of years later. It was in 2015 when getting ready to teach a course on the subject. I asked Spirit, how do I explain God mind? And instantly this conceptualization downloaded that depicts the three phases of the human mind, the superconscious, the subconscious, and the conscious, and its relationship to infinite intelligence, God mind, and how our minds individually are meant to live stream those divine ideas and inspirations and revelations right through our superconscious into embedding our subconscious with those divine ideas, which then pass into our conscious mind, which then brings it out into the relative world in both form and in consciousness. We are meant to be co-creators of heaven on earth if we activate all three phases of our mind. So these revelations are life-changing. I mean, when we really put these into practice, we become those co-creators of heaven on earth, actively participating in that. Well, I started telling those stories and conveying it to people. And then I realized, especially last year, that it's a whole lot simpler rather than going through each of those explanations, that I think people have to have a certain amount of spiritual consciousness to really grasp the meaning and intent and significance of those messages. So I simplified them into what Jen mentioned. something called the Divine Two-Step. And this is it. It's a simple, prove it to yourself, coherence building practice, which is first step is aligning our minds with the divine all the time. And the second step is anchoring to the feeling of gratitude in our hearts all day, every day. And when we put that into practice, any one of those steps, of those two steps, is transformational. But we put them into practice, they become paradigm shifting. And we can truly lift this whole global field, because that field that we personally create by implementing this interwoven practice of heart-mind coherence through those divine two-step daily practices just will uplift the whole global field into that paradigm shift. So I guess that's it that I can convey right now. But thank you, Jen, for that introduction.
Thank you so much, Patricia, for sharing that. I appreciate your work, and I appreciate how simple yet expansive the core of your message is. Right at the heart of it, you remind us that the purpose isn't something to chase or achieve. It's just something that we realize. And I love that idea of remembering the oneness and coming home to ourselves in that way.
Yes, thank you, Jen. Yes, and if I could just add one more thing, as each of us does develop this practice, we get inspired and we share our transformational stories with others. They get inspired to do the same, and this becomes a ripples on the pond movement that can really, really transform our world. So thank you again. Yeah.
Thank you, Patricia. That's wonderful. I think the plan at this point is to have conversation about what everybody has talked about at the end. So I am going to just go ahead and move into introducing our next guest. And so next we have Brianna, and Brianna is an award-winning author, international speaker, and what she lovingly calls a transition guide, so a death and spiritual doula. And her path has been shaped by a lifetime of chronic illness, a near-death experience, and a healing journey that once seemed impossible. Those experiences now inform the work that she does, supporting others through both life and death with clarity, compassion, and presence. Welcome, Brianna. I'm looking forward to hearing more of your story.
Thank you so much, Jen. And I have to say, I didn't know what Patricia was really going to talk about and how perfect and aligned it is what I'm going to talk about. So based on my NDE and really diving into the spiritual world after, I left my career in construction behind after my near-death experience and later brain surgery, and just kind of wondered what everything was about. Like, what is this point? I worked so hard at what I was told I was supposed to do, and I was living the life I was told I was supposed to. And why did I have this amazing, incredible experience? What was it all about? So I really dove into the spiritual world, even though my mom had been in it for a long time and kind of been pushing little things on me. It didn't really take until my near-death experience. And I found meditation after, and what I found was I can disconnect from my physical body and get back into the non-physical realm, the spiritual realm. And in that, anything is possible. If you think it, you can be it. There is absolutely nothing stopping you except for our own self-doubts and blocks and stuff like that. So I studied a lot more, and I worked on tons of different meditation styles. I started working with people, and my big core belief is basically what Patricia said. If you think it and you feel it with gratitude, you will see it, because our consciousness creates reality. Our reality does not create our consciousness. Despite what many scientists would like to argue, everything around us is based on our consciousness. And our thoughts are the highest form of frequency. It's our soul, and especially when we get into that soul level thinking, and we are connected completely with our soul, our higher self, source, and all of that. That is frequency at the highest momentum. It is pulling, creating, it is, co-creating, it is amazing. And then in order to bring it into our physical realm, a lot of people kind of get lost on this step, but Patricia nailed it. It's gratitude. That feeling of gratitude, knowing it's already happened, knowing that possibility is already born into existence, that's what pulls it. It's like an anchor into our heart, into our soul, and then you see it. So I've come up with you think it, feel it, and see it to basically co-create our reality. And it's super powerful because gratitude is even more powerful than love. A lot of people think love is the highest form. I think it's gratitude, because in gratitude is love. And not always in love is there gratitude. And so I'm so appreciative that Patricia mentioned that living in gratitude all day, every day really transforms your life. And then it transforms how you interact with others and how you touch others and how that ripples out and how we can change as humanity. We can change as a world, and we can raise the frequency. And I just absolutely love that. And I've had so many instances of things that shouldn't have been possible. I healed from a incurable neurological movement disorder after my near-death experience because of this process. And I've also created this beautiful, loving life that I never thought I'd have before all of this. And so if you think it, if you can dream it, your consciousness, your soul, and you grasp it and you grab onto it and you're thankful that it's already happened, even if you don't see it in the physical realm, it's going to happen. And I just love being able to interact with the universe and know it's interacting with me back. And there's so many different ways of doing it. There's energy experiments, there's meditation, there's, even little things like, I just want to see a butterfly tomorrow in the middle of winter. And sure enough, you'll probably see a butterfly. If you're not so keen on how it shows up, just knowing it will show up. And it's very cool. So I take that into my work as a transition guide. I am a certified death doula. I really wanted to be able to help people transition peacefully. A lot of people don't have the experiences that we do. A lot of people are frightened. They don't know what's on the beyond. They don't know where their spirit lies, what religion is correct, or anything. And I can come and sit with a unbiased approach, because I don't have to explain what is beyond, just that it's going to be okay. And I don't even have to say that. It's the presence and that gratitude and compassion I bring. And it kind of grew beyond being a death doula because of my history of basically a whole life of chronic illness and grief and trauma and all of this stuff, and yet still being able to come out with gratitude and being able to look back and see what it was all for. A lot of the people I work with now are people struggling with reconnecting to their higher self, finding their purpose, and getting out of chronic illness. And it kind of brings everything together. Everything I learned in my near-death experience, everything I've learned about co-creation, manifestation, creating our own reality, and also how traumatizing it is just to be human. So I also love the name Beyond Being Human, because we are so much more. We're only in a vessel for these experiences. And yeah, they're tough and we go through a lot of stuff, but our soul is so beautiful and strong and wholesome. And I really feel like the more obstacles you put in your path, the stronger your soul is, and the more yearns, there we go, I tried to put those two words together, yearns to learn, to love, to be compassionate, and to give. So I'm really thankful to be here today with all of these lovely people and see Michael once again on his birthday. And thank you so much, Jen.
Thank you, Brianna. What an incredible story. Of what you've been through and what you've overcome. And it seems like we have a theme going on. You said that yours reflected Patricia's and the sharing, and this theme of, this spiritual connection isn't something that we have to strive for, earn, access outside of ourselves. It's already there. And there's this beautiful coming home that continues to be showing up. And I love that in our themes.
And I just wanted to add, just to mention about Brianna's podcasts. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? And I'll share your screen if I can. Yeah. So yeah, tell us about it, please, Brianna.
So I don't actually host a podcast. What I've done is I've built a collection of all the interviews that I have been honored to be on in a nice location, easy to, as you can scroll down, you can see, I think I'm reaching about 100 different podcasts that I've been on. I've also been in 3 documentaries at this point, and there's another one coming out this year that I'm really looking forward to. I got a film in London for it, but if you want to know more about my story, more about my work, there's also themes to different podcasts. Different hosts have different questions, have different ideas. So my near-death experience was very profound. I thought I'd been away from my physical body for about 3 months, and it was only 8 physical minutes. And I learned so much, and it transformed so much of my life. And now it's helped transform so many other people's lives through being on podcast, through writing books, and also through my own clients. So anyone who wants to check out more about my story, you can go and look at a theme and find the one that calls to you, because there's I think around 100 there now. Thank you, Michael.
And yeah, people can find Brianna as well as all the other guests, because they've got a profile page on Beyond Being Human, and we'll like keep updating that with various different links and things. But Brianna's link to her website is on her page, and that's just beyondbeinghuman.org/Brianna with 2 N's -Lafferty, LAFFERTY. And thanks again.
Of course. Thanks for pointing that out. You put together beautiful profiles for everybody, so I really appreciate that.
Cool. Thank you. And yeah, over to you, Jen.
Thank you. And Michael does do an amazing job at putting out all of those profiles and linking everything and really sharing all of these resources for everybody. And with that said, I believe, Michael, you wanted to share about a resource that Beyond Being Human is going to be presenting.
Oh, you know what? I'm not quite ready for it, but it's great to see Tammy has arrived. But we'll come to you in a little while. I think I might jump straight into introducing Anthony. Yeah. So, Anthony, hi.
Hello, as I unmute myself.
Yeah. Just
Happy
tilt
birthday.
your camera down just a touch. There we go.
How's that? Better?
Much better. I love your shirt.
Oh, I thought I'd better put on something a bit bright and happy and for birthday celebrations.
Exactly, yeah. And we're in a heat wave. I don't know what it's like for you. It's getting a bit hot here in Sydney, but yeah, and other folks in America and Canada are freezing. Oh,
Yeah,
well.
definitely crazy. That's what we're talking about. Yes, we're in the middle of a heat wave where I think our coolest day is today, which is going to be somewhere around 30 degrees. But we've been pushing up into the low 40s. So yeah, it's definitely been warm trying to get stuff together. It's dry and tinderbox dry. So, everyone's on alert at the moment for fires, and we've certainly had our fair share of them just north of Melbourne, and even, 20 minutes up the road from where I live in the bush is been on fire as well. So definitely different.
Yeah. So recently or primarily you, did an interview with Brad Olsen, an absolutely fascinating guy. And this is the resource that I wasn't quite ready for, but I'm now ready. Um, I've clipped the first 3 minutes of the interview just to talk about him and invite people to uh, come on to Beyond Being Human website and look for that. There'll be a notice on the homepage once it's released, which will be probably mid-week, maybe later in the week. I don't know yet. Just fine-tuning a few things. And we're going to be doing various other interviews, I hope. And just to mention too, one of the surprise guests, and we can say hello right now, is with Daniel Drasin. Is that how I pronounce your name, Daniel?
It's Drasin.
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 Yeah.
Close
Cool.
enough.
Well, I'd love to introduce you to Anthony, but I'll play this video first and we'll have a little bit of a chat because you make the perfect guest for our next podcast episode if you so feel inclined.
Sure.
But yeah, let me just get the video happening. And thanks for coming, Daniel.
Oh, it's a pleasure. By the way, just want to thank you for being the only other person I have ever met on Zoom who asks people to tilt their camera down for proper headroom.
I have a reputation for being extremely fussy. And you wouldn't believe sometimes the lengths I go to, but yeah, thanks for thanking
I
me.
believe it.
Cool. Okay, here comes a video.
Brad, lovely to meet you for the first time after chatting online and not actually seeing you, and doing sort of research and getting a bit of an understanding of who you are and what you've been doing. I find it amazing that you started writing at a very early age, you started drawing at a very early age, you've traveled most of this planet. My first question, what drove you so passionately to draw, write, travel, explore, and not just explore peripherally, really deep dive into things? What made you get to that point?
That's pretty much my life story, and travel has a very large part of why I've done what I've done and who I am as a person these days and what I do for a living, and the books I write now and publish and produce for CCC Publishing. And part of that travel was down under to Australia. Spent about 6 months and backpacking and hitchhiking a lot of the way from Cairns up in Queensland all the way down through Brizzy, and lived a month in Sydney, and then took a bus to Adelaide, and then hitchhiked from Adelaide all the way out to Kalgoorlie, and then a friend took me to Perth where I flew out. And so travel was just such a big, important part of my life that I can reflect back on now, as well as use that information in my books. So I did a series of books on sacred places around the world, and well, went to about 80% of them. Sacred places in Europe guidebook, sacred places in North America, and even published another woman's book on goddess sites around the world. So travel has been really just instrumental in my career choice and what I'm still doing 30 years later after I founded my publishing business called CCC Publishing, and the website.com, 3 C's in one word. And there's all my books you can see, and then all the other authors that I publish, including Laura Eisenhower, Leo Lion-Zagami, Michael Jaco, and several others. So that's kind of my wheelhouse there, Anthony. That's what I'm up to.
And yeah, it's been interesting editing the full thing. So Brad goes into some of the history around Hitler and the Nazis and their occupation in Antarctica, which is really, really fascinating. And there's more and more coming out about all of that. Yeah.
Can I jump in there, Mike?
Yeah, go for it.
That's the first time I've seen the sort of intro heading. I think you've done a great job on that. Looks good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you could have shown me before. Hey, when you're a perfectionist.
It only popped out late yesterday.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Brad is amazingly interesting. I love interviewing people that have got a different slant on things or a different look, have an approach that is so open-hearted and genuine. It's what Supernals as a magazine is all about, as you know, but it does really meeting people on a global scale instead of sort of local, because you get to know all the local people that are involved in this sort of stuff, but seeing the global and seeing all the faces that are coming in as well through Beyond Being Human is brilliant. I think it's the most amazing way to share love, gratitude, understanding, information, whether you agree with what the person says or not, doesn't matter. Everyone has the right to their journey. That's what it's about, their journey.
Yeah, and just to keep things moving along, Daniel, would you like to just give us a brief overview of your expansive career? And he's also a filmmaker, which I'm really looking forward to talking to him about that as well. But yeah, just whatever you'd like to share just for a few minutes. And this is like your pitch to Anthony. Why would I want to interview you?
Wow. Well, that's a tall order to compress into a few minutes, but I think the first thing I could say is that as a young child, I knew I wasn't from here. And that led to some interesting experiences as I was growing up. And I've dived into many inquiries into consciousness and the paranormal and the ET question. And I've had a number of adventures along the way. And since about the 1990s, I became really focused on the question of the afterlife, which I think is a kind of a misnomer. I often wonder if there's if there's consciousness after birth, because that's another long story. In the early 2000s, I and my co-producer Tim Coleman embarked on a journey to produce two films, two documentaries. One is about instrumental transcommunication, that is communication with the other side through modern electronics, which has been going on since the 1950s, as many of you may know. And the other was about the Skoll experiment. This was a 5-year experiment in physical mediumship that took place in England from about 1995 to 99. That's another feature-length documentary, and I can put the links in the chat if you'd like to see them. Most recently, 2-3 years ago, I published my first book called A New Science of the Afterlife: Space, Time, and the Consciousness Code. And let's see, since about 2018, I've been closely involved with two very wonderful and amazing mediums, Jean Love and Regina Ochoa, who live here in the States. I'm based in the San Francisco Bay Area. Jean is in Los Angeles, Regina is in Nebraska, and we have a website that I've thrown together with some of their quite amazing channeling material. It's called cosmicvoices.network. Excuse me. That's Cosmic Voices, one word, .network, not .net, .network. And you're welcome to go there anytime and just look at the messages page, and you'll see some quite amazing channeling from folks you've never heard of, and then folks you have heard of. Jean is a professional singer and has an affinity for the performing arts community. So when folks in that community pass over, many of the names that you might know, her name is known over there, and they want to get in touch with us usually quite soon after they pass. And so you'll see quite a number of these messages on our website. And they're articulate, they're wonderful, they're deep, and introspective. So definitely, if you want to, for a good time, go to this website, cosmicvoices.network. And if you have questions about it and so on, we'll do a presentation here sometime in the near future. You're welcome to ask questions, and I'll answer them as best I can. So that's the nutshell version of Daniel Drasin.
Yeah, and yes, so your other website too, dandrasin.com, is that right?
Yeah, that's my personal website, and you'll see a number of my film, the recent documentaries that I've mentioned, and also some earlier films that I've made way back into the 1960s. I did what was known actually as the first social protest film of the 1960s, and it's still being shown at film festivals today around the world. So I've had a long history behind the camera, and so that's sort of that's one lifetime that I've lived parallel to my paranormal lifetime. And anyway, if you want to check out my personal site, it's all there.
And I'm sure Anthony.
And by the way, Michael, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And Anthony, I'm sure, has a couple of questions. We've got a little bit of time, and Tammy is going to be coming up after you.
Lovely. Thanks for sharing, Daniel. That's really nice. It's the paranormal, afterlife, before life, whichever way you want to go into it, is a space that I've been working in for the last 30 odd years. And educating and sharing education, whether it's through movie, documentaries, written word, books, all that sort of stuff, that's what we sort of stand for. So if I was interviewing you and we have the time, which I'm sure Michael will be able to organize, I would be really keen to know what actually, one, got you started into the paranormal, and how you felt about that, and maybe just a little brief introduction to that space in your life would be lovely.
Well, in a nutshell, it started when I was very young. There's several things. I grew up in the 1940s in New Jersey, close to New York City, and there was a newscaster who had a news program every evening on a major New York radio station named Frank Edwards. And he used to give UFO sighting and landing reports. This was before the curtain of ridicule came down in the 1950s. And at that time, the UFO enigma was a perfectly normal subject of conversation and inquiry. And one night, Edwards gave a report of a sighting and a landing near the Fort Dix military reservation, which was not far from where I was living at the time. And my first thought was, oh, my people are coming back.
Love it.
And I also thought human beings looked funny. So that was the beginning of my suspicion that I might have come from somewhere else, and I'm sure that's true of many of us here. That we have this feeling that this lifetime was not the first, and not necessarily one in this particular life system. So, and so I'm not claiming anything special by sharing this kind of information. I'm sure it's true of so many of us. Then as a child, I had a number of precognitive dreams. And that I couldn't understand that, except it gave me a very important message that in the theater of life, stuff goes on backstage.
Beautifully said.
That our physical senses and so on basically give us a slice or a spectrum of reality. And there's so much more. And one problem, I get into this in my book, one of our biggest challenges is that of language, because our languages are geared toward the physical world and our normal human interactions and our politics and sciences and everything else. The languages are all focused here. So I think we have to kind of adapt to that and expand our language, for one thing, which we're beginning to do, and also to seek beyond it and not allow our thoughts and our perceptions to be framed by the languages we have. Now, some languages do have more space for what we would call the metaphysical reality. But languages very, very often determine our consciousness. I mean, if you sit in a cafe and watch some multilingual or bilingual people in conversation, and you'll find that they have to switch languages from time to time because one language does not express what they're trying to communicate. So I think that's a whole fascinating kind of mirror that we can hold up to ourselves and see how our language perhaps reflects our culture more than it reflects reality. Anyway, I could go off on that for hours. That's the nutshell version.
Yeah. Look, this is the thing. Everyone's story is so amazing, regardless, and the language that you're talking about is something that, as a writer, I deal with it. But I was blessed to do a lot of work in India, up at the Dalai Lama's temple, and working with refugee Tibetans and helping them be able to understand English in a different way was a challenge to take their language, create something so that we came together and understood what we were talking about. And I really feel that understanding the language of life, paranormal, all that sort of stuff is something that, we could definitely do some work on.
Yeah, that just another one of my favorite whipping boys is the term afterlife, because it kind of gives me the impression of like the kids when they pin the tail on a donkey as a party thing. It's like, oh, it's an afterlife. It's this little trivial appendage attached to our real life, right? And so I tend not to use the word afterlife if I can help it. I basically point to the greater reality. That's the phrase that I use. And I think that frames the picture more in a better and more accurate way.
Yeah, that'd be good conversation in itself. I tend to talk about concurrent life, multiple lives in one matrix, that sort of thing, so that everybody actually is in their own matrix that brings in the people that help them to evolve. So yeah, I'm not going to say the Matrix is a documentary. I'm just using that as a framework. So yeah, lovely. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, my pleasure.
Are you jumping on again, Jen or Michael?
Well, I can until Michael's back on screen there. But that was a lovely conversation, and I look forward to when you do the full interview, because that sounds like that would be a really beautiful deep dive into everything about what it is to be human and beyond. And so our next guest, I believe Michael wanted to have a little bit of a conversation introduction with, but we're going to be bringing Tammy on to share a little bit about her story. And Tammy does the Raw Consciousness Talk podcast, which is an unfiltered gateway into the unseen, the unknown, and the untamed edges of the human experience. And this is where conversations aren't polished or packaged. Tammy really tries to make sure that the conversations are honest, expansive, and deeply human. So, Tammy, I would love to hear a little bit more about your story.
You're muted, Tammy.
Okay, so for me, I definitely can agree with Daniel that I have felt alien my entire life. And for me, communication started around the age of 3. And once that communication began, that was a nonstop communication. And I've had experiences that could be paranormal. I've communicated with, what I called at that time angels, but I have to be honest, I didn't see them with my physical eyes. I felt them and I heard them. And I was continuously being given information. And another thing that I can agree with Daniel is, for me personally, when I get information from the other side, it comes to me in a different language. So now I have to I'm here, and now I have to try to translate it in the human language. And sometimes I can't even find the proper or even a word to relate it to, because it doesn't even exist in the human language yet. It's things that just don't even exist. There's no words for it. And so,
But Tammy, so are you receiving experiences and then having to translate them into English?
Right. And I still, to this day, I have all this information inside me. It's there. And I can't put it out into words until I find the human word that relates to it. Is the only way I can describe it. I'm like, all right, that's the word that you're supposed to use, and then I have to put it all together to make one long sentence or paragraph or whatever, or speech. And so it's been really hard for me navigating through this world with being fully connected to the other side. For sure, my entire childhood, I spent more time, I call it the other side. I've spent more time on the other side than I have here in this human experience. So navigating has been extremely hard for me. I was diagnosed with autism and severe ADHD, which might be a part of my human self, I guess you could say. The human part of me, and I see it as a superpower, and I can see it as a something that holds me back, because the superpower part of it is I can hyper focus on things for hours, days, months, and it'll be just that subject, and I will learn every single thing about that subject that I possibly can, so that I can learn how to translate. So I'm learning how to translate it into words so I can be able to produce it for other people. And so I spend a lot of time studying, in fact, every day. But I had, at the age of 24, I had, I guess, what people call a Kundalini awakening. I guess that's the name for it or whatever, at 24 years old at a church pulpit. And that was, I am not religious. I didn't grow up in a church, but I felt like that's where I was going to find people like me. So I started going to church, and for me, at the age of 5, I started having out of body experiences where I physically felt my body out of me, and then I would be able to explore, and then I would have to go back in that body. And I would fight it tooth and nail. I didn't want to go back in that body, because wherever I was at was a place of that which is on the other side, is the only way I can describe it. And so I didn't realize that none of that was normal until I hit middle school, and I'm having a conversation about, where I went and explored the night before to a group of girls, and they had no clue what I was talking about. I thought they were going to share their story. And so that's when I realized, oh, this isn't real. So when I was 24 years old, I had that, whatever people call Kundalini awakening in the church. I had only attended maybe 3 services. So I really had no clue what was going on in there. I just felt like I must be with my people. And so in that awakening, it was so powerful. It was so mind blowing. It was a whole complete shift, that literally whoever I was that walked into that building walked out a whole completely different person. And I couldn't go back, because it was like, I just couldn't go back. So now, 2 weeks later, I have a near-death like experience. And in that experience, that solidified everything. That experience was so real and so alive and so tangible, and so every sense that there is outside your body, inside your body, all of that was activated, is the only way I can describe it. And that's when I realized that in that experience, that God was not a physical man up in the sky holding a staff, waiting to persecute you if you haven't obeyed all the rules and laws. When I saw God, it was this big, gigantic, huge, bright light like the sun. But if you're watching the sun go down on a horizon anywhere, on a coastline, and you're watching the sun go down, just picture the sun taking up literally the whole eye view of the entire ocean. And when I saw that light, I knew that that was not God, but it was that which has been leading me through my whole entire life. It is that which gave me the capability to come out of my body and explore. It was that which was everything. It was inside me, my higher self. It was outside me, everything around me. And there was that was the turning point for me, where I could never go back to this world. I lived my entire adult life separated from myself, navigating through Earth the best way I possibly could, which, if you're not connected to this body, it seems to just continually be failure, failure, failure. And so until I ultimately just left everything, and I've been traveling now for, it'll be 11 years in February, where I just left everything. I couldn't be a part of that, whatever that was. It didn't work with me. And so, and in my travels, I've experienced more stories than I could ever even tell in just one little slot of talking. But my spiritual experiences just expanded more and more and more. I became very in tune with telepathically communicating, well, not communicating, telepathically knowing what was being said inside people. I could read people. I had all these gifts, and they were like 2.0 or whatever expansion that you want to speak. And I could just see the world for what it was and what it is. And I knew that this was backwards and upside down. It was not, this world is not what it's supposed to be. And from that time on, my mission is to be that which is the change, not speak about the change, but be about the change. And that's my mission, is to be a part of that, the collective that is worldwide by the millions, that is looking to change the world, because it can't keep going on the way that it's going on. It's not getting better, it's getting worse, and it can't fix itself. We, as the people, those that are here for a specific mission, which I know that I am, we all need to collectively do it. We need to do it together. And right now, the way that I see it, all the puzzle pieces, everybody's a piece of the puzzle. The puzzle pieces have been thrown up and they are scattered everywhere. When those puzzle pieces begin to come together and form that puzzle, the beauty of what is going to come out of that is going to be brand new. It's going to be like paradise or heaven on earth. There's going to be a change that is going to happen, and it has to happen, because it's where it's going now is it's only going to get worse until we stand up and we come together and we start putting those puzzle pieces together. That's when the world will change. So that's me in a nutshell. I am also the host of Raw Conscious Talk podcast, and I interview those that have had paranormal, any type of experiences that are just out of this realm of reality. And so I do a lot of interviews. Right now I'm going through my own personal journey where I go into depths of all of my experiences that I've had throughout my entire life. And I just to try to open the eyes of the blind and educate people where it's not just what we see here and now. It's way more than that. And we, as a collective, as humans, we are light beings having a human experience. We are powerful light beings having a human experience. And I just want to be a part of that light, because the brighter our light shines, the more lights that come together, the light will dispel the darkness. And there will be a whole completely different world that we're going to be living on.
Thank you very much, Tammy, for sharing your story and your experience and your mission. It is such a beautiful mission. And I love the quote, "Be the change you want to see in the world."
Mm-hmm.
And we live so much in talking about, all of these different concepts and spiritual understanding. And we know that there is a lot going on in the world right now. And so for us to be able to be that mirror for the world, so that we can hold that space for change within ourselves, and then allow the world to experience that change through us. What a beautiful thing that we do have power over in our experience.
Yes, thank you.
So I would like to invite our next guest, Tanis. Tanis is the founder of Twila Lifestyle Community, Twila Lifestyle Academy. This is a space devoted for conscious living, personal sovereignty, and embodied spiritual practice. Tanis has done a wonderful job of being able to integrate spiritual wisdom into daily life in ways that are grounded, accessible, and empowering through her classes and her teaching and her guidance through her speaking. And I'm honored to have Tanis with us. Welcome, Tanis.
Thank you so much, Jen. It's always an honor to be here. And, before I forget, Michael, happy birthday. And thank you for having us all on here. It's always great to see everybody too when we have these gatherings. So Jen and I go way back with past lives. And so with the talk of past lives, I thought maybe we could talk about a few of ours. So Jen and I met a few years ago. I don't know how many years ago, almost 10 now, I think. 8, maybe. Anyway, doesn't matter, just numbers.
It's been a while.
It's just numbers. We've known each other forever. So when we met, it was like we'd never not known each other. And we both have had numerous past life memories come back over the years, and we both do Akashic record reading, that kind of thing. And so with that, we started doing some past life recall, I guess you could say sessions, right? You were doing them for me. And we realized how much, because I would be doing one and giving information, and she was experiencing her own side of that at the same time. So we realized how much the past life thing was impacting. And of course, it impacts us in this life as well, in our connections, in all of that stuff. So Jen has just recently written a book, actually. So the Lyran legacy. And so in that book, she actually tells a lot about the galactic history and our life together in that time. Which, there is no time and space. So it's really just an alternate time of now. And we've both had experiences where we've been channeling that part of ourselves to bring forward into this time. So, Jen, why don't you tell a little bit about the book, like just an overview or what your favorite part was, or there we go. Thank you. Thank you, Maureen. There's the Lyran legacy. So tell them what you think about that and your side of that.
Sure. So, thank you. The Lyran legacy came through as a dream at first. It was a Akashic record, probably one of the first times that I was able to really access the records at any length. And this lifetime was just one of many lifetimes that came through for me during that dream. And I didn't realize at the time how impactful it would be until things continued to progress. At one point, it would come through in another memory, an awakening in another dream. And then it was coming through in my waking meditations, also just sometimes having a conversation, and all of a sudden more of that would come through. And the story itself is in a couple parts. So I start with the galactic history, as Tana's talked about, and really explain how we came into being, what that looked like, the way that things were happening in the cosmos actually changes in our cosmology that happened during that time period. And I have to say, I was blown away, because even though these messages were coming through and they felt real and they felt connected, I'm a bit of a science girl, and I like to look things up, and I like to know, like, does this actually fit? Does it not? And through doing that, I found that this information that I was getting actually fit with the cosmology and some of the things that we're just starting even to understand. And that blew me away. And of course, the guides are going, of course it does. And I'm going, yeah, I know. But, and there was this back and forth that we had. But the stories, as they began to evolve and understanding and just growing, it became really clear that a lot of what we had been through in that lifetime is paralleled to this one. And so the messages of the book, and you ask me, my favorite scene and things like that, I don't know that I have a specific scene so much as an overall message of, we really need to be in this place of love and connection and honor our truth. So very much to what Tammy was sharing with us, and what everybody so far has shared with us, that if we can hold space for that and for that divine connection, we don't have to repeat the past. We don't have to go back through and continue the suffering. We do have the ability to be that change that we want to see in the world. And we lived that then, and we have the ability to live that now. So I think that's the thing that stands out the most for me.
I think what was amazing for me when we were doing all this process, so she sent me of course an early version, and as I read it, I cried through most of it. I was having real visceral reaction. Now, we had talked about certain scenes and stuff before she put the book together as they were coming through. But I just knew as I was reading it that was our life together, like one of our lives together. And it was a very impactful one. The amazing thing was, as soon as we sort of both had that opening, we started to have people come into our lives that were also there. And we have about 10 other people or more that we know who they were in that book, in that story. And they are in our lives now. And it's it's fascinating to me because the energy of these people was, we knew right away. We knew that they were important for us. And so that has been a true blessing, I think, in all of that. And it just shows how the energies, it's infinite. Like we're always living with our past life, if we call it that, past life energies, and we can call upon those talents, skills, and abilities that we have in the past lives and bring it forward to this one. Now, I think, so Jen and I were, I guess, leaders of sorts, diplomats in that time. And, we've brought that forward in this one by we're working with the Alliance for Extraterrestrial Diplomatic Contact. And that has become part of who we are here. And we had obviously agreed to this because, neither of us went out looking for it. It happened and we were like, okay. And so that's the beauty of this kind of work, I think, is being able to just be and have it come to you and be like, oh, yeah, okay. Just be open and curious, like Jen always says, right? And so we are kind of doing similar roles in a sense because we're doing diplomatic work with the Alliance as we did in the book. And Jen and I are both on councils with the Galactic Federation as well. So we are also channels and we work telepathically with the Federation as well as, here on Earth with the Alliance. And so we have a strong galactic history. And then we have a whole bunch of other lives too. One in lots in England. I'm sure there's a few in England. We were witches together. We were, I guess we were sorceresses together. We were all sorts of different roles that we've played. We've been sisters, we've been married, we've been all different kinds of relationships, which is so unique, I think, for us. But it's amazing for us when we walk down that path and we start to feel into these different lives and how they sort of weave through what we're doing today. What were you going to say, Jen?
Yeah, absolutely. So Brianna had made a comment, and very much to what you had just said. I believe souls travel in soul groups and live in different, ways with each other. And I think that that is such a beautiful thing that we're able to have. And so when we have those moments of connection with another soul and we just go, that namaste, like I see you, I know you, and really on a deeper soul level, not just in a 3D to 3D moment, but to go, I know your energy. I want to meet you with my energy. I want us to be able to meet each other exactly where we are and who we are in all of the facets of what that is. And that has been a really powerful thing to recognize in these people that we have been meeting.
Yeah, and we also have the first sort of coffee date that Jen and I went on in person in this life. We were sitting there and we were just talking about how, we were both Reiki masters and we were just kind of getting into the getting to know each other thing. And I heard something happening in the astral. And I'm like, I'm hearing something happening in the astral. And we both went and we checked in and we were seeing the same things. And then we took care of it. And then we came back and we're like, so what's up next week? Like it was nothing, like we'd been doing it forever. And that's kind of the beauty of having past lives with people, because it is just a remembering. You're just going back to those previous relationships that you've had. And so that I think is a beautiful gift when you can meet those people in this life that you've had on your path. And I certainly have been, I'm filled with gratitude to have quite a few of those people in my life at the moment. Jen being one of them. And she and I probably shared more lives together than many of the others. So it's, I am grateful to you, Jen, as always, to be on this journey with you. And yeah, so that's kind of a little sneak peek of our history together. Did you want to add anything to that, Jen?
Well, I mean, I second that. I'm grateful to be on this journey with you and to be able to have. I think the other piece of it for me and all is having somebody else who I can share the experiences with and who is able to meet me there. One of the things that I talk about in the book was the devastation of my homeworld and how that came to be. And I remember so many times, you know, Tanis and I do cards and we were pulling cards for each other, and Tanis kept pulling this card for me. Your family is safe. And I'm like, I know my family is safe. I don't question that my family is safe. I know that they're taken care of. And it kept coming up and kept coming up. And I remember thinking, what is going on here? Because I know my family, thinking, you know, very much my kids, and like I know they're all safe. So what is happening? And then it became clear that this was not talking about right now. It was a reminder that my family at that point in time is still safe. And, you know, to the timelines and all of that, I know we say past lives, and Daniel, you were saying about afterlife and how that's not really an appropriate kind of terminology. And I think that that really is a powerful kind of transition in the way that we speak about this, because these different experiences that we have are often happening in parallel with time and space not being this linear thing that we believe it to be. And so, in that, these parallel lifetimes have been coming through and they are impacting this experience that we have. And so, it was very potent for me to go, yes, they are safe, to recognize what the messages actually were and what they were referring to so that that healing could truly happen.
Well, and I think it's a really beautiful thing for us to be able to share, because it helps us to heal some of those past things too, because, you know, that's part of what my tears were about with the book, was going through all of that with you and having it come back out. We were able to chat then in this life and have healing around some of that galactic lifetime, because it was around the Orion Wars, and that was pretty devastating for many. So I think that was it's a big benefit when you have somebody in your life that you can do that with. And, you know, we all have soul families. We all have these groups of people that we've made soul contracts with to come back down, and we fulfill each other's roles, right? As we come down, we have this person in our life we pick them to be our parents, we pick them to be our children, you know, because we have things that we need to do with them, whether it's karmic, whether it's we're trying to learn what it's like to be human, which is, of course, why we're here. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to know that the people that are in your life have been there before. And when we all have that remembering and we're able to tap into those memories as a group or together, it just really, it's very, it's like coming home, basically. I think that's what it's been for me. So definitely past lives exist. And I can always tell when I'm having a past life memory, because you feel it viscerally. Like for me, I often cry, crier, but I'll feel it. Like it's a deep knowing within, and usually is accompanied with goosebumps or tears. So that's how I know that it's a past life memory that's coming forward. Is that what it's like for you too, Jen?
For me, I feel often a resonance. So we've talked so much about resonance already on the show. And for me, there is a moment of, wow, that feels aligned. And the moment that something comes in, to be able to just sit in that space, the integration of it feels like a lightness, an opening that happens. And it's an expansion, if you will, being able to sit in an energy that is fully this, but also fully something else. And yeah, and that's how it is for me. And I know that there's several of you on here who've also had experiences where you've tapped into other lifetimes and other kind of knowing. How is it for you? Is there anybody that wants to share just a little bit about what that feels like for you?
Happy to share a story about one of my very first, let's say, concurrent or past life experiences, if you want to hear it. Yep. So I work a lot in frequency and color, frequency tied together. And when I started learning mediumship and psychic work and all that sort of stuff, one of my teachers would come up and shake my hand, and he would tap into what's been going on in my week. And I thought to myself, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want him being able to do that. So I started down the journey of working out how I could block people from taking or tapping into my energy. And so myself and a friend, we worked on this, and we did a block, and they got past it. We did another block and got past it. Anyway, this went on for about 6 months, and we sat down and we worked out a system, an elemental lock system, which takes a bit to explain. However, quite simple to do. And what it does is literally shuts you out so nothing can get in. So we did this, and we went back to our teacher and we put our blocks in place, and he couldn't get past, and he smiled and said, well, you've learned something, haven't you? And that was all well and good. The part of the elemental lock is it's tapped into your DNA, and our DNA is, as we all know, is individualistic to us. And so the only way that somebody could get through that lock was if they were part of my DNA, or there was a similarity on that energy sense. And so when I met Lone Wolf through an astral experience, he actually stepped through my blockage and said, we are off the same DNA, which is how I could actually understand and get through that block, which blew me out of the water, because then I realized that from a past life connection, I am him, he is me. We are sharing the same DNA frequency at some point in our existence. Of he came from the south of America, what we know as America now, it predates that. I watched him come down the mountainside on his horse, and his whole village had been wiped out and was burnt. And the tears in me just poured out, seeing and watching his despair, experiencing I can't even put into words what it was like for him to come out of the mountain where he'd been to see his whole village wiped out. But in that connection, that past life connection, concurrent, if you want to call it that, he was telling people about what was happening in my life. So he was talking about these big metal birds that fly through the sky. He was talking about these vehicles that would go down these highways that weren't dirt or tracks or anything else. And so we actually were sharing a sort of concurrent understandings of his life in that time, my life in this time. And so from a block, understanding, learning, connection, past life, there is that connection on a DNA frequency level that allows us to be able to connect into those lives, and it serves us in that space. So he still teaches me how to do energetic work with a drum. Another one teaches me how to use a flute and how to play a Native American flute. I have one that's teaching me didgeridoo. So we have all these lives that we're tapping into at any different stage, giving us information to help us get our aha moments, the light bulb moments, the feelings that we experience that can be just so emotional, happy to crying to just living and appreciating everything we have. And so from what my teacher inadvertently was teaching us about how to read other people by just touching them, we're able to learn all this stuff about elemental locks, and then how that unlocked so much more in us than I think he ever thought. But maybe he thought and knew that it was going to happen. So who knows? But anyway, that's a little share.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I believe, is there anybody else that wanted to share before I introduce our next? Okay. I'm not seeing anybody off mute, so I'm going to go ahead and just make sure. Stone, are you good to share with us? Okay, perfect. So Stone Hobbit is a multifaceted personality with experience in several fields. So Stone has a deep understanding of nature's alchemy and shamanic practices, combined with being born into and living within the New Zealand, now make sure I say this right, you can correct me, Stone, when you come on, Maori culture and the Australian Aboriginal culture, and also influenced by past life incarnations and innate knowing. So Stone, I think if you have some things to share even about what we've been talking about or whatever feels aligned and resonant for you, I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, everybody, for coming along, and thank you, Michael, and happy re-entry day. May you have many more. Yes, that was lovely. Thank you. Yes, I am existing in New Zealand, Aotearoa. I am part Māori. I also lived for an extended time in the desert in Western Australia, Pilbara region. So I throughout the scenarios of these experiences, I got to spend time in the actual desert with proper originals, and I got to learn about their culture and their dream time, and I connected very easily. And so I was already doing, I was born with abilities which we call gifts. I'm not sure I'd like to call them gifts in some cases, but they became, you were talking about past lives, and for me I have what I call innate knowings. There's just this knowing, the feeling, it's right, I've been there before. I know stuff about places and items and people that in this lifetime I know I have no connection to, but yet I have the awareness of and the knowings of how to, in alchemy, I do different forms of divination. I hold a couple of classes. We've got a Hearthfire Hangout, which is deprogramming, and it's a support group. So anything whatsoever that comes on in your life, there are ways through calmness that they can be approached and they can be examined. And this is what we do in the group. It's a group setting. All are welcome. It is free. Then from there on, 2 hours after that session, we go into another one, which is the Hearthfire Motivational Writers Group, where it's another form of the deprogramming. We go into shadow writing. So you learn different techniques of how to get that inner child, that inner voice out. We work with different phonics and words, breaking them down, because the languages as we're speaking is, once we become silent of mouth, we become full of heart, we become full of feeling, and we're able to see it within each other, and the languages that come out are so different. I 100% agree with you when it becomes, I take love out of the equation and I replace it with gratitude and appreciation and acknowledgement. And once we step into that, then anything else that has come forward, any form of trauma, and we work in, because I come from a very dark background, I worked in a lot of areas of trauma and advocacy and deprogramming. So this is what I do, and I also have, every day there's some sort of new weird, paranormal, ET, whatever label you want to put on it, experience that comes in. And I have much footage. It's absolutely insane how much footage there is. So once we become aware of who we are, on the understanding of who we are, and that we are all multifaceted, we can tap into all of these different sources, resources out there that we've already been connected to. It's about remembering, so bringing back together the splinters of who we have become, what they have done to us. However it came about is not really too much of a concern. It's about being able to identify that it's happened and bring them back in together and heal them. So this is where I work in. I go into some very deep, dark areas. It's about respect and courtesy for all. And like yourselves, it's lead by example. My main mission that has been shown to me through different beings that came in and all the trauma that I went through is just stay in that authentic truth. And if you can do that, then anything else that tries to come in is just going to wash over you, because it cannot sustain itself. If you tell the truth 100%, it cannot sustain itself, so that's where I work. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to cover. I have a regular podcast. I can't give you a number of how many we've done because I've done them over years now. I've known Michael for many years. I can't even put a number on that. But my podcasts are on Roughshot Ramblings. We do roundtables. We interview guests who have had different forms of experiences. We do the writers group. We do the deprogramming group. Many different areas. So I also do a day in town where I do community works as well. So we start off with gardeners and getting back into the environment, being aware of what your environment is and how much you want to dedicate yourself to your environment. So yeah, I'm not sure where else to go with this. There's many different angles to it. So I have much appreciation to each and everybody who's come along and supports Beyond Being Human, because that's where I see myself. I am beyond being human. There is so much more to us than just this absolutely amazing vessel. So thank you once again. Aroha from me.
Thank you very much, Stone, for sharing with us and sharing your story and your work. And yeah, it's beautiful. And this idea of really coming home to gratitude and holding that space and how that can heal is actually a beautiful segue into our next guest, Maureen Edwardson. And so Maureen Edwardson is a futurist, a pioneer author, and the originator of Inner Resonance Technologies, IRT. And Maureen has been sharing IRT now for over 3 decades. And this work is a beautiful healing modality that Maureen has been able to bring to the world. So Maureen, I'd love to hear a little bit more about it.
And just before you do, hi, Maureen. I'd love to hear more about your personal experiences of Beyond the Veil too, because we've covered your professional life and offerings a number of times, and let's really expand into where we're going with this. I don't know if you've had any afterlife experiences, or anything you can relate. Over to you. Anyway.
Is that question for Stone or for myself?
That's for you.
Wonderful. Yeah, I guess for all of my life, when I heard that people had out-of-body experiences, I thought, gosh, that sounds pretty cool. But it turned out that I was looking for an in-body experience because I spent most of my life out of my body. And so, yes, it's, I'm in and out, all the time. And I'm not as consciously conscious as some others are as being out. I know many, many lifetimes I've had and continuously bump into old friends. And so it's a feast of being interdimensional and being here now. So in terms of specific stories and examples, I wasn't prepared to think about that. The work I do helps people put themselves back together from being in so many multidimensional frames all at once, so that we are remembering and waking up who we truly are. And it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be painful. Been there, done that, got drawers full of the t-shirts. So it's time for um, allowing ourselves to be all of who we are. So, I like to think of it as not beyond being human, but being human and redefining what human is, because Hugh is another word for God. And we are all the light, we're all God beings. That really liked what Tammy was sharing as well. Well, everybody. And we are already all of that. So, how do we integrate that? How do we relate to all of that? How do we be all of who we are every moment and be able to go in and out at will, consciously, and be more of who we are than ever before? So, there's nothing to do, everything to be. And in that beingness, how do we continuously shine and hold presence, be love in what we see around us? So it's through resonance. That word, here it is again. So resonating with all, I've been so many places, so many incarnations, so many realities, that I bring the gift of integration for all of that. And it doesn't have to be hard. As I said, it's ridiculously simple. It's too simple for most people. So I'm here to wake up humanity to the greater truth, the simple truth of light and love. And when we allow our inner Michael, our inner Michelangelo to chip away everything that's not the truth of us, we become all things simultaneously, all here right at once, because the truth is spirit and consciousness is limitless. So we are everything, everywhere, all at once, right here now. So when we're conscious of that, we get to choose and navigate. And so I'm taking my magic carpet ride on tour. I'm coming down to scoop you up for lunch, Michael, and take you out for lunch. Coming down under from Vancouver, Canada, in the end of March. And we're going to have a lot of fun on the magic carpet making cosmic soup that nourishes, the memory, the essence, the core of who we are as spirit. So so it's going to be really fun, coming for 2 months, and with much more vitality than I had last time, because I came home from Australia after 2 months 2 years ago, and I had 1 week home, went to Spain for another event, and had a massive heart attack, from which I recovered probably overnight. It took the doctors 3 days to see that they couldn't find anything else. And 5 days they went in because they couldn't believe they couldn't find anything. And 9 days later at 9 a.m., after my massive heart attack, I was on a plane flying 18 hours home through Amsterdam to Vancouver, 18 hours on my own. So we all have this capacity. I'm not exceptional. Yeah. So this is what I help people wake up to, remember who they are as cosmic beings. In other words, human, Hugh is another word for God, human redefined, waking up your grand cosmic self. And then realize that there is no separation, that we've been everywhere, everything, and we are still now part of and one with each other and all of the infinity that we get to play with now.
Yeah, I wanted ages ago to ask you about your heart attack experience, whether you had any beyond the veil experiences during that time.
Well, actually, not particularly, not consciously, which is kind of interesting. I was, I was mostly conscious through most of it in this realm. I was just super curious because I know I'm, at this moment, I'm programmed for a good 150 and probably much longer than that. So I was just really surprised and I was curious. So it was more like an adventure for me. because I know I'm sovereign, and I know, wow, that snuck up on me. Isn't that interesting? Like, where did that come from? And then I got all the bits together, number one, self-care, and the heartbreak of family and daughters and grandchildren, and thinking that I had been really okay and cool with all of that, carrying on doing my mission in the world. But, there's that part of us that always wishes things could be a little different. And it's sometimes like being a lobster, in a pot of cold water that you start getting, the heat gets turned up, turned up, turned up, and then all of a sudden you're cooked and go, oh my God, I'm cooked. And but we are shapeshifters, and we are reality shifters. And we all have the program, not just some of us. I'm just coming down, finishing a 5-month program of 40 people, including myself, and regrowing teeth. We are morphable. We are creators. We are limitless. And, when children have a finger cut off, they automatically regrow it because they don't know they can't. So we're all, this is a regenerating machine. This is a place to play and to morph and wake up to more of who we actually are. So that's my inner resonance technologies basic work, which is underwhelming to most people because it's so simple. And the complexity is already built in. So we get to find our individual access codes. So yeah, so I didn't necessarily have any conscious near-death experience. I had near-life experience. Oh, I'm alive. And I got this. I guess that's how I would describe it more than anything. But thank you for the thought, Michael. Yeah, I guess I'm not, your standard make. I don't know. But I brought this work in from to the planet. It's from off planet through Lemuria, through that portal. And in that incarnation, although I think I was hanging around Atlantis as well, so those were kind of simultaneous. But this is really ancient, and it comes from that portal of beyond the sun beyond the sun. It comes from the ancient oneness that we are. There is an energy called sapphire. Does anybody know the energy of sapphire? It's believe it or not, because I'm very wordy. It's an energy beyond words, and when that sapphire energy pops in with a client, I lose all my words, and they get it all, through the wordlessness, because it's direct into that portal. And sometimes the people that are Christians say that there's sapphire is referred to in the Bible, for example, as the face of God, sapphire, the throne, But just the other day, I'm talking with someone that does galactic and intergalactic cleaning. She does cleaning and aligning the galactic and intergalactic energies. And so I asked her about the sapphire energies, and she described it as like that place where you kind of go through this portal, and then it's the oneness, it's the infinite. So if you ever find yourself speechless, you probably have gone into that portal of the face of God, so to speak, that I believe it was Tammy who spoke of that light that encompassed the whole horizon. We are that, we are a sunbeam. We are all God tasting chocolate. And we're here having an experience, but we're not limited to that experience. So that's just what I help people, and people that have, still shifting through all of the variety of being torn apart of what they're not, and giving a slam of all the experiences that's not the truth of them, and how do they figure that out in this limited veil. It's really simple and fast when you allow, and it's just a series of simple questions that then are catalysts. So it's just very simple. So anyway, we are all of that. We are. So think sapphire, and you will be part of and one with.
Yeah. So look, time is running on, and thanks, Maureen, and we'll be continuing on after we stop recording in about 15 minutes. But we've got one more very special guest that I'd like to invite in, and that's Susan and Patricia as well. I wanted you two to meet, and yeah. But Patricia, maybe just before we go further, tell people how they can participate in your, do I have you pinned? No, I can't see what's going on there. There we go. Yeah, the book study group. How can people participate in that?
Oh, thank you, Michael. They can register by either direct mailing me on Facebook or by visiting graceunlimited.com. I actually don't have the book study posted on that website yet, but there is a donate button to register. This is a 15-week book study on the John Randolph Price book called Empowerment. And Cindy and Michael know how powerful John Randolph Price as an author is. What he conveys is just in line and in sync with everything that we believe and are fostering, only he did it years ago. And so he has left us behind all of these books that he wrote. This time we are doing empowerment, and it begins the first Sunday in February. We meet on Zoom every week at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you just register by, like I said, direct mailing me on Facebook or register on the graceunlimited.com website, which you can just utilize what's posted there, which doesn't say the book study yet. I'm not adept at changing the script on these websites, so it has what we just did, but you could still register there or direct message me in Facebook. So thank you, Michael, for bringing that up. It's going to be wonderful, and a lot of us repeat these different books by John Randolph Price. We did 3 of them last year, and I think 4 the year before. So we're just diving into his profound work.
Yeah. And I've shared the Living in Heart-Centered Gratitude Facebook group as well, which is a central place for contacting you and sharing all sorts of different things. And it's growing fast, that group.
It is growing. And it's private, so you have to request to join. It's not the page, it's the group that's private. So just request to join Living in Heart-Centered Gratitude. Thank you so much, Michael, for mentioning that. Thank you.
Yeah. And I know maybe offline or after we close off the recordings shortly, you and Susan can have a bit of a chat, or Susan probably knows very little about you so far, but have you got anything to ask Susan?
At the moment, no, I'm just looking forward to meeting you. Michael has spoken so highly, and I think he must intuitively know there's a connection there between us. So I am looking forward to exploring that connection between us. And
Yeah.
and before I finish, I also want to say I put in the chat about let's all donate to help Michael. He gives us so much, so many opportunities for us to share our messages here on this forum. He doesn't charge us to do that. So let's honor him through his birthday and really all the time, but really show him how much we appreciate him by giving him a birthday gift today. So I put the link in the chat.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'll see if this heart thing works.
You did it. You're just full of that heart stuff. Yeah, it's just bubbling out.
There we go.
Susan, let's talk. Yeah, I want to meet you.
Yeah, everyone can practice that. And I also need to mention before we go to Susan is that it's Trina's birthday as well.
Oh,
Yeah, are you there, Tarina? Come and say hi.
Well, thanks so much. Yep. Well, I was on the 22nd. So go Aquarius.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's
Well,
pop
happy
over to
birthday.
Susan. Yeah.
I just want to say happy birthday, Michael, and happy birthday, Trina. And Patricia, you got my psychic message because I was also going to mention that supporting Michael and all that you do on Beyond Being Human and your selflessness in allowing it to be a platform for so many people and so many ways for people to connect. So I appreciate you mentioning that, Patricia. I'll be really, really brief. I would like to just tell you that I have 3 names. My English name is Susan, and my Hebrew name from my mother's side is Sarah, which means princess. And my Tlingit name is Chaaksik, which means eagle daughter. And I was adopted by Jim Walton Klaak into the Tlingit tribe in Alaska. I'm of the Eagle moiety, Chak Ayahat Siti. My people that I was adopted into are the Shikakwan from the village of Sitka. And my clan is Kagwantan, the Wolf clan. And I am a member of the Chak Kudihit, the Eagle Nest House. And I'm also a member of the Baha'i Faith. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a relatively new independent world religion founded in the early 19th century in Persia, which is now Iran, by Baha'u'llah. And it's centered on the core principles of the unity and the oneness of the Creator, the unity of all religions, and the unity of humanity. And it advocates for world peace, gender equality, universal education, and the science of harmony and religion being in harmony with one another. And one of the central tenets of it is that throughout history, the Creator has always revealed guidance to humanity progressively, and that all of these messengers that have started various religions or what are considered religions are divine messengers like Moses and Jesus and Muhammad and Buddha, and they guide humanity progressively. And Baha'is believe that Baha'u'llah is the latest of those messengers. And a big part of what I've been involved in the last number of years is really twofold. One of them is learning how to have conversations around all of what people consider different beliefs. So on Sunday evenings, I run we call it a fireside circle, where we talk about some of the tenets that are associated with the Baha'i faith, but not in a way to convince anybody about anything, but just to learn more and share our different perspectives on a wide range of topics. But what we do that I think is really important is we use principles that I've learned in a grandmother's circle that I'm a part of. Many years ago, starting in around 2008, I wanted to honor my Tlingit father who adopted me, and I wanted to honor him by learning more about something that he used to talk about all the time, which is an indigenous teaching that says there won't be peace on earth until the voices of the grandmothers are heard. And I wanted to know, what is it that the grandmothers have to offer to the world that will bring about peace? So I quit I had a corporate and government job. I ran a PR agency, and I was deputy director of communications for the state of Alaska. And I walked away from all of that, and I traveled from Siberia to Patagonia, interviewing grandmothers for a documentary film called The Wisdom of the Grandmothers. And one of the things that I learned in that is that in every culture, in every race, in every economic group, there is this teaching about the importance of the grandmothers raising their voices in the world. So I've been involved in a grandmothers group for many, many years, more than 10 years. We meet every week. And one of the things that I've learned from it is something that I've been trying to share with younger people. And it's something that we call heart sharing and sacred listening. And as I've been listening to all of you tonight, sacred listening is defined as listening to each person as if the voice of the Creator were speaking. And heart sharing has been taught to us as sharing not so much what's in our minds, but really what's in our hearts, and learning how to share from that heart space rather than that head space, which Western society has told us is so important. So one of the things we've been working on is learning how to really do that, because it really isn't easy to learn. I've been practicing it now for many, many years with this grandmother's group. And over the past few years, and this is what I wanted to relate to Michael's website, we've learned that getting out and sharing some of these techniques for sacred listening and heart sharing and some of these basic teachings that are associated with religion is really important for younger people. And so Michael started some support groups on his website. I know Jen and Tanis do one. We started one for younger people that wasn't really successful, but we're starting a new one on Thursday evenings with Megan Ricciardi. It'll be at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time on Michael's web. You can go to Michael's website and we'll have the link. And our goal in it is really to reach out to the younger people who aren't necessarily resonating with a lot of what's going on in the spiritual communities or churches, but really trying to bring young people into the conversation and find out what they need and how we can support them, so that they don't feel that they have to go to drugs or alcohol or depression or suicide or many of the things that young people, especially in indigenous communities, are going to. But they can learn that they're loved and all the things that all of you have said. My heart is really touched by the work that you are all doing, by the sacrifice that you've all been making to bring your messages into the world, by the love and the light that shines out of all of you. And I really hope that we can expand the circles so that we can bring more younger people into the circle so they can learn some of the things that they need to learn in order to live in this world, but more importantly, in order to bring the divine civilization that we're all part of forward into the future. So thank you, Michael, for inviting me to be a part of your birthday celebration. Thank you for all you do. Thank you to all of you who've spoken tonight before me for all that you do. And I just wish you many blessings, and I offer my prayers and my love and my support to all of you on your journeys. Gunashish aho.
Well, thank you so much, Susan. And I'm so grateful to all of you, because my birthday party would be very lonely if it wasn't for this global outreach. And that's what's so good about Beyond Being Human, as an educational platform with a spiritual mission. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Susan, for sharing, and for everybody for making this such a wonderful, wonderful event. Anthony, I believe that you had wanted to share as well.
Right. Thank you. I've really enjoyed listening to everybody talk today. By the way, it's just been amazing. As always, I just like to be a sponge and just soak in what everybody's saying. Michael, again, happy birthday. And you're only, what is 8 years above me, 7 years above me now? Because I only just turned 60. So, so it's birthday season. What I wanted to mention was Supernal magazine, because we didn't talk about that very much, but supernalmagazineaustralia.com.au is a magazine that I've been putting together since 2018. It started. It's not anything I get paid for. I'm like Michael. We have long chats about how we monetize and get money into to keep doing the work we do. But it is something that is starting to gather a lot of momentum, in that we offer a free subscription and some paid subscriptions, and we do a lot of stuff there. It's all about education and sharing and giving people an opportunity to explore what we do. All the writers just contribute amazingly to make the magazine work. That's our contributors that do regular columns like Michael does. And so, yeah, so we do a lot of stuff to just help make people aware, open their eyes, as been mentioned today. So there's a lot of stuff in all of that. But what's exciting is in June this year, we're running our first readers trip to Bosnia, to the Pyramid of the Gods, or the Sun. Pyramid, Sun's probably the better way to call it, which is a energy generating pyramid that was only discovered in 2005 by Dr. Sam Osmanagic, and he's actually writing for the magazine, talking about the power and generation that these original pyramids had, and his information has just blown me out of the water. And so, of course, when we've started sort of Beyond Supernal with our series of podcasts there, you know, we were talking to Brad Olsen, and Brad's actually one of the key speakers at that event, so I'm actually looking forward to meeting him in person. So so if anybody's interested in knowing more about that, it's just a matter of emailing me, editor at supernalmagazineaustralia.com.au. What we're doing is we're running an 8-week program prior to the event, all done on Zoom, then another 2-week program after that, finishing with the Day Out of Time, as a way to prepare everybody to go to Bosnia for up to 10 days. And then when they come back, they've got the support. So we're doing it as not as a sort of a retreat style thing, but there's going to be a lot of speakers, there's tours, we get to meet Dr. Sam in person, he'll be working with us. So something really special and unique. And for us as a magazine, being able to host Dr. Sam as one of our writers and be able to produce this readers trip as part of their conference and tour and summer solstice as well, is something really exciting. And I know Michael and I have talked about this. He wants to get in my suitcase somehow, but it's his camera gear that causes the problem, not him. So, but yeah, look, if anyone's interested, we would love to share the information that we're putting out there to people, pre-trip, post-trip, and during. So it's something very different for us, but something we're looking forward to. So thanks for all of you sharing today. And again, Michael, thanks for all your support and help in doing what you do for Supernal.
Well, thank you. It's a great magazine. If you guys haven't actually gone on to the website, and you can view the latest issue for free, is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah, and it's always very interesting and totally in line with the themes of Beyond Being Human. And so it's a really good collaboration, I think. Yeah. And so, unaccustomed as I am to coherent speaking, I'll just have a little bit of a rave about Beyond Being Human and moving forward. So I'm probably looking to move back off screen more than I wanted to, or I have always wanted to, and give all you guys an opportunity to shine more as well as hosts of the monthly events. And I'm going to be putting an email out to everyone about that. And we've already got a couple of months and that are allocated to different people. But the idea is to explore our themes. And actually, let me just have a quick squiz on that. And if you haven't seen it before, the virtual realm exchange, as I call it, has 12 topics that have grown over the years via inspiration and meeting different people, and like it's formed the body of the proposed documentary, which is taking a long time to get organized, but I'm still working on it, and hopefully this year we'll make some progress into actual production, because it's not going to be anything like the online meetings and little interviews or things, but it's a whole deep investigation into, well, really it's our relationship to the divine. Ultimately, that's the bottom line. And that is the bylines that I more or less gleaned from the angelic encounter that I had, exploring our multidimensional nature, nurturing our divine spark, and choosing love always. And I'm now kind of measuring everything that we do against those three things in particular. But in the future events, we're going to be looking at these different topics. And you've probably seen them all before. And it's a huge undertaking to start populating each of these little things. They're like chapters in a way of the investigations that we're doing. And the scope is open for anyone to show what they're up to and talk about their experience. And I'm actively looking for a podcast host for ecology at the moment. And I should mention too that Tanis has been doing a great job on explorations, and that's ready there to look at the past interviews and things, and there's going to be a lot more coming. I'm in a backlog of editing and working my way through all of that. But Jennifer is featured in this episode, so if you want to learn more about them two together, Old Souls, and Simon and Maureen also, and also healing. So that's one of the things I wanted to talk about as well. I probably will co-host some of the discussion panels that we've been doing, and you can see those on the YouTube channel. Please go to the YouTube channel and like and subscribe and hit the notify bell. And if you're watching this now, just go ahead and do it. It'll make you feel good, really. And there's a lot of content right there, open for free. We're moving the membership to a bit more of a commercial basis because my expenses have gone through the roof. And I really would like a little bit more support from the public now, if that's at all possible. But getting back to discussion panels, we're going to be exploring a number of different of our main themes, and primarily consciousness, spirituality, and things like that. Not so much extraterrestrials. I think many people are covering that well and truly and doing a great job. And now is the time for disclosure, and that's happening slowly but surely, but it will happen eventually. Well, in actual fact, it has happened. I mean, I think in terms of the grassroots disclosure, that's well and truly now spread across the world, and it's very, very exciting. And I've just been watching some of the Facebook posts and whatever. It feels like a number of other people now are starting to post what they view. And because everyone's got an iPhone, it's really quite amazing. But if you want to check out some really good ones, go to Chris Bledsoe, Bledsoe, and he manages to get the most incredible stuff. And his experience is amazing as well, very spiritual in terms of angels, I guess, and other entities as such. But also John Martin is someone to check out if you're interested in all of that. He just walks out into his backyard, and it seems like almost every time he just puts the camera up and, oh, there's one, and he sings to them and they respond, and it's fantastic. Anyway, I don't want to rabbit on, but we are now entering, well, what is it? Past the second hour now, and we can carry on chatting privately, and we're going to stop the recording in a minute. But is there anything else anyone would like to ask of anyone publicly, just to wrap up different things? I don't believe it. Crickets.
I will. Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, happy birthday, Michael. And thank you for doing what you're doing. What everyone here is sharing with us all has just been so enlightening for me. I really appreciate it. I took a lot of notes. Thanks, Michael, for sharing links for everyone. A lot to dive into, to feel who you are. And I'm really grateful for being here. Thank you so much for sharing. It's really what I wanted to say. Yes, so I'm in Patricia's Living in Heart-Centered Gratitude Facebook group. And yes, we do the Epiphanies. I've joined those a couple times where we get together and talk about my gosh, this is what's happened to me on the spiritual level, on how life has changed for me, and looking for light and seeing light and good and God and everything, the stories I can share about that. And it's just been so much growth for me, and everything that I've learned in Patricia's group. And of course, John Randolph Price, or the book study group that we have, where we all get together every week, has just been wonderful. So yeah, I just wanted to just share what I had to say, and thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And I've got to say too, it's been really great getting to know that group in particular, and you and Michelle and Brian, but especially Patricia. Like when I first heard the Divine Two-Step, like my heart sang. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. And it's so accessible. That's what I love about it. Yeah. But yeah, one last thing. Well, anyone else want to chime in before I finish up, and Jennifer can do the final wrap up?
I just want to say I have to go now, but thank you so much for the invitation, and we'll see you again soon.
Great to meet you. And
Bye,
there's
all.
Michelle. Thanks, Daniel.
Hi, Michael and everyone. Happy birthday. I've been quiet and listening to this great dialogue that we've had going on for your birthday. My name is Michelle Rupert, and I work with Patricia Wagner and her Living in Heart Center group in Facebook. And now I lead the Epiphanies call that we have once a month to have people share about their experiences with the universe. Because the more we hear about your stories, that you have your ahas and all these magical moments with the universe, we want to hear them because we want the world to experience more, because they're always happening, but people really don't acknowledge them. So please join us. When you join our group, if you could answer the questions that we have, that just really helps us to know that you are resonating with our group and want to join us. And also you'll see my poll about when do you want to do the pre-recordings? What are the best times for you? Because we're trying to get more and more people involved in our Epiphanies calls in the Living in Heart Center group. But I think in the conversation, or the conversational book studies that we have with John Randall Price are priceless. So the more the merrier. Please join us. That would be great. And I look forward to being part of this group and you all being a part of our group. So thank you. Thanks for this opportunity. And more importantly, happy birthday, Michael. I hope this birthday year is the best yet. So thanks again.
Well, thank you. Yeah. And I think if no one else has got anything, let me just show you this page as a final wrap up, and all of the links that have been shared in the chat on Zoom, I'll be posting on the YouTube replay. And there's a page set up with your bios, short bios as well, and the replay video, and that'll come out in a few days. And here's that page. So if you'd like to join, I'd love you to join. It's very low cost, and it really does help to keep on going. And there's just down here, there's a 60-page PDF that, actually I'll jump there. Oh, I can't do that. Yeah. Where am I? Now I'm lost. Oh. Error. No. There we are. This page here has the PDF as a sort of slideshow. That's what it's called. And you can look through that and just click through. And it talks about the deeper meaning of the mission and what's going on and all of the things that we do. And yeah, I'm amazed, in fact, how much it is actually grown in all sorts of different ways. And I haven't even managed to count how many people we've had as special guests, but that's growing obviously as well. So anyway, over to you, Jennifer. And again, thank you very much. And it's been a great birthday so far.
Wonderful. Well, happy birthday to you, Michael, and to you, Trina. Thank you for joining us, everyone. As we come to a close, what really stands out for me, the conversations, the perspectives, the lived experiences, all of it points to a simple truth that we are far more connected and capable and conscious than we are taught to believe. And every message that has come through tonight has shared that remembering, that knowing, remembering our connection to one another, to the unseen, and to that deeper knowing that's moving through us. And so thank you all for sharing your stories and your experiences and just your energy in this space. And for everybody watching, for sharing your energy as well. Thank you for being with us, for helping honor Michael's birthday, but also just the connectedness that we all have as we're processing through all of this. And several people had shared, we're taking all the stories in, all of the experiences in, and all of these beautiful teachings and understandings, and just allow that to continue to unfold in you with no rush, no force, to the divine two-step, that allowance of really sitting in the divine and what is possible. So notice what shifts, what opens, and what feels newly possible in your experience. And hopefully we will continue to see you with Beyond Being Human as we continue to build this community. Thank you all so much for being with us.
And dare I say, thank you so much for doing such a great job. And you and Tanis are online excessively, twice a week on Twilio Talk. And Tanis, I don't know, do you want to have a quick mention about that?
About Twilio Talk, well, Jen and I started that. We've been, 3 years now or more? Yeah. And it's on Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, every Monday we have awesome special guests and conversations about spirituality. It's just authentic conversation that so we don't actually even choose a topic until we get on. So we just jump in and chat. So Jen and I were having all these great conversations between the two of us. And I said to her one day, maybe we should do this, record them. And then it went from recording to live to now it's been 3 years. So it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, and it's great. I don't usually have time to watch all of them, but I try and catch a little bit at least. And yeah, so I don't really want to stop recording. I'd love to just keep on going. Any last words? Anybody? We're all talked out. Okay, cool. But
Michael, I'd just like to offer a closing prayer. And I'd like to thank Creator for allowing us to be here together today. For everyone who's come, I'd like to send out peace and love to you and honor your presence here, and also send out prayers for peace in this world that is in so much conflict, and peace in people's hearts. Gunashish Aho.
thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. And in fact, you made me remember just then. I wanted to open with a prayer. I was going to ask Patricia, and I forgot. Do you want to do an opening prayer, Patricia, and I'll edit it into the beginning? No, can't hear. Can't hear.
So as we come together tonight, let's just bring our focus down into our hearts and rest there for a while. Begin to breathe ever so slowly in and out. Begin to feel the comfort, the gratitude, the appreciation for such like-minded beings being together and doing the work of uplifting not only ourselves, but our planet as well. With our heartfelt gratitude and appreciation and love, we bless this world with just our presence. And tonight we honor Michael Davyd, for Beyond Being Human and the opportunities that presents for all of us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is.
Beautiful. And I was just reminded, hands up how many people are reverends or pastors or so say your names.
I'm an ordained minister. Does that count?
Yes, that's what we're talking about. Yeah. And Patricia is, and Tanis is, and Jennifer is, and who else? Stone, I'm sure you're a minister of some sort.
Yes, I have done my hand fastings for a few people, so yes.
Okay. Well, look, let's wrap it up. And thanks again. I'm going to stop recording and see you next time.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jen.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so
bye.
much.
Thank you. Patricia, I'll reach out to you on Facebook. Thank you.
I'd love that, Susan. Looking forward to that connection. Yes.
Thank you. And Anthony,
And-
thank you for all you do. And Tanis and Jen Stone.
And anyone who would like to join our Living in Heart's Gratitude group, it's a, come whenever you want, leave whenever you want. It's just like very easy flowing, right, Michael?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But
See
yeah,
you on our Sunday night. Thank you so much. Bye.
bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
So Jennifer, you can stop recording now. And how would you like to carry on and keep chatting, or is enough?
I have a question for Tanis and Jen, but it has to do with an update in